I just made a 7'4" big and this build gets compared to Shaq. For day 1 of 2K26, if you want to be a dominant inside big, you're going to want to make this build right now. There's something about walking around the court with a 7'4" big at almost max weight that gives you so much aura. What I'm about to do is give you a full walkthrough on how you can make a 7'4" big that's compared to Shaq. Very first thing you're going to want to do is make this build 7'4" and at 268 pounds. This is a Shaq build. If you want to make a Shaq build, you have to have a high standing dunk. What you're trying to do is get gold rise up on this build, so you're going to go with the 90 standing dunk. You want this build to be an absolute demon when you get in the restricted area or anywhere underneath the paint. So as soon as you put your standing dunk to a 90, you need to go to your close shot and upgrade this all the way to a 92. You can play with that attribute all you want. If you don't want close shot and you want to get driving dunk or driving layup, all means do it. I made this build to be a pure dominant inside just like Shaq, so I put close shot. If you're like me on my big man build, I'm always looking up the court after a rebound and I'm throwing out. By all means, I'm giving this build a 94 pass sack so I can throw the best pass. Right here, we're going to be upgrading the interior defense and we're going to be upgrading the block so we can stop every other big man that's trying to abuse the standing dunk. This build might as well be called a post scoring stopper because you're going to be able to stop every post scorer being 7'4". I know you're looking at this crazy right now, but don't worry, the interior defense is not staying at a 75. Once we upgrade the strength on this build, what that's going to do is upgrade your interior defense minimum into the 80. I put a 93 block right here, but later in the video I changed it to 89. Now this build's going to have paint patroller, and on top of paint patrol you're going to have high flying denier. This build's going to be an absolute horse, and I'm even going to leave room for cap break. You need to be shooting for on your rebounding is to have at least gold and Hall of Fame rebounding badge. And what I'm going to be doing is giving this build a 94 offensive rebound with an 89 defense. What that's going to do is guarantee me I get the best rebounding badges I can get on my build. Having the rebounding at a 94 and an 89, what that's going to do is give you enough room to make sure you can dominate offensively every time you take the ball up in the paint. Right here is where your interior defense officially goes up. Trying to get gold brick wall on this build so your strength should be no lower than a 90. What that's going to do is make sure you have a gold brick wall, and you're even going to have your interior defense all the way to an 85. You're going to see the day 2K drops and you get inside the builder, every one of these numbers are going to get you to a max requirement for all these badges. So make sure you're going to the build by badges feature and make sure your big man has at least gold brick wall. Now this build's sitting at a 98 overall, and as I look over this build, I only have one thing to think. Now I'm a 7'4" big man and I have a 94 strength. Any build that doesn't have at least a legend pick dodger is not going to be getting through any of your screens. There's no reason to mix that high of a close shot if you're not going to have post control, so make sure you drop that close shot and you go and get some strength. If you feel like you're doable with your strength and you want to get higher rebounding, just max out your rebounding instead of doing the close shot. This build's going to be one of the builds you can dominate with and go to the rec, the park, or even go to the proving grounds and you'll be able to really cook up. The 7'4s do have a liability. They are a little bit slower than most builds, so if you're going to run a 7'4, make sure you have somebody that can help. What I can say about 7'4s is they're going to get every single rebound as long as you're in position, and your standing dunks are absolutely incredible. As I'm looking at this build, I'm going to make my final touches, and what's going through my head is I'm thinking about custom takeover. Looking at every one of these attributes, I have a 90 standing dunk, but I still have a 94 offensive rebound. So with this build having a 90 plus in 3 different categories, your custom takeovers can go to each one of those attributes. And on top of all these +1 badges and these +2s, I'm telling you right now, this Shaq build's going to be unstoppable. Especially if you're in the rec or you run 5-on-5 and you put yourself in a zone, this Shaq build's not giving up nothing in the paint. And just like in 2K25, we're going to have levels to each one of these takeovers. Levels 1 all the way through level 5. So the higher your takeover bar is in the game, you're going to be able to get more attributes to your build. 2K even added on to their badge elevation system, and now you can get max +2s to all these badges. That's what gives this builder its depth in 2K26. This has to be one of the most in-depth builders we've ever touched. These are all the final stats on this build. If you made it right, it's going to come out with comparisons to Rudy Gobert, Wilt Chamberlain, and Shaq. Your attribute type's even going to be called a board-enforcing diming riser. This is a 7'4" pure inside build that you're going to dominate with on day 1 of 2K26. We're going to be dropping builds that can do absolutely everything, whether that's a lockdown, an inside, a post scorer, or even a stretch. So if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that bell right now and you turn the post noties on so you don't miss anything I drop. If you like these videos, you can support by dropping a sub right now. 2K's early access is going to drop on August 29th, so if you haven't gotten the game, make sure you lock it in.